So, the presentation that I presented today was Help the Youth Heal. This is presented by me, Alexandria Norton, and so the information that was brought to us today was by the Center of Mind Body Medicine organization. This was copyrighted in 2024, and this was obtained off of their website, the Mind Body Medicine organization. So, with the Center of Mind Body Medicine, it is an organization that provides relief to trauma in a public health approach. Whether it is an international, natural, or own home trauma, trauma is everywhere and it is completely unavoidable. A lot of our communities that I teach in, we are in a low income, high poverty stricken area. Our kids deal with many forms of trauma, whether it be physical, emotional, mental, or social emotional abuse. A lot of the times we see these problems pop up in our classrooms. We as teachers have become trauma informed, which on different occasions have helped me become more aware of the structure of our students' brains and how they relate to their flight and fight reaction. And so our job is to recognize when one of our children have trauma backgrounds. And when they do have a trauma background, they might not necessarily respond to a simple direction or task that has been given to them. And so their reaction may implode the situation. And so our job is to learn how to de-escalate the situation and try to figure out what triggers our students' reactions. And me as a teacher for my own classroom management, my number one goal is to not try to set the landmine off by triggering a situation. And so that is what I have learned among the last couple of years within my trauma care. We don't usually work with the Center of Mind Body Medicine, but this approach is a model that they use that can be used all over different types of communities. So the populations that this Mind Body Medicine organization helps are adults and children, educators and students, healthcare workers and patients, the caregivers at home that are providing care, military, veterans, first responders, and frontline workers. Especially when it comes to these people in their jobs, it is important that these people understand that the things that they see and that they have to react to on a daily basis can cause trauma. And so the goal is to get them to see that their jobs are very valued and important because they help so many around them. But unless they are learning how to take care of themselves first, they cannot help those around them. So, what are the effects of trauma? So trauma can increase mental distress, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, inflammatory disease, and other chronic conditions. All of these things we have seen among our parents, grandparents, our caregivers. As a preschool teacher within the Lima City School District, a lot of our parents are unhealthy. And so it is scary to see, because these kids depend on these families. But I know that living in a high poverty urban school district, the reality is that a lot of our parents do suffer from these diseases because of the daily stressors that they have on their lives. And so one of the statistics found was, according to a report in 2017, 70% of adults across 24 countries reported having experienced a traumatic event in their lifetime. And since the coronavirus pandemic, no community has been left untouched in being affected by a traumatic life event. So, today our young people face more stressors than ever before. Today our youth struggle with the threat of mass shootings. Teachers struggle with the threat of mass shootings. Natural climate related disasters, armed conflict, pandemic related pressures, social unrest, uncertainty about the future, and all of these things pile up on our youth and adolescents, both physically and mentally. I know, as a 33-year-old adult, all of these things, if you sit there and think about it, weigh you down in a way that you can't even truly imagine. So, trauma can be caused by difficult situations in everyday life, so it doesn't have to be an international or national effect. Kids can deal with trauma from loss of a loved one, divorce or separation of parents, bullying, and any major life transitions such as moving schools, moving homes, moving dance studios, anything where their social interactions change on a daily basis. But the biggest thing that I want to point out that this model really does a good job of figuring out is that it doesn't matter what someone's socioeconomic status is, they all suffer from stressors that cause trauma and affect their physical, mental, social, and well-being. And so it is truly important that with this model they see and they understand the approach that they go into each community, and they understand that these stressors cause our children to experience PTSD, depression, anxiety. And right now we are at an all-time high for our youth and adolescents to be struggling with depression, anxiety, and PTSD. But people that have come out of the program have repeatedly shown that 80% or greater reductions in the number of children who qualify for PTSD have been significantly reduced. So, what does this model create? It is here to build resiliency. We want our children to understand that their trauma matters. Their trauma is real. They have to accept the trauma. Later, this program also teaches them how to manage the ongoing stress, and we want them to be able to build resiliency against future traumas. couple things I've learned throughout this graduate program is it is important for the people that are modeling this group, this support group, that they learn and comprehend the community, because you have to have a rapport built first. So the collaboration with this model support system is, it starts with school administrators, parents, and other trusted leaders, and their goal is to learn about the school or the community and the cultures and the organizational goals. Once a rapport and the ability of trust has been built, the model is adapted to meet the needs of the community or school's needs, creating an in-person, online, or asynchronous programming activities. So the goal of this is for the model to create a champion. They want somebody that is a leader in the community that can show a success rate where others will then decide to come along and join in on the success of alleviating their levels of depression, PTSD, and anxiety. So what populations could benefit from this? As a teacher within the Lima City School Districts, I would really like the research program to go into areas in my community, to see how we can help benefit them and create stronger mental well-beings, and then eventually it'll lead into stronger physical well-beings. The report shows that we really need to help everybody in our community grow mentally tougher. Thank you.